Welcome to Bird and Bird's video series on infrastructure in Europe. This video in the series is on the topic of procurement, and we hope to be able to give bidders and authorities alike our top tips on more effective tendering. My name is Stuart Cairns. I'm one of the co-heads of the International Projects and Procurement Group, and I work out of our London office, but I'm increasingly engaged on projects internationally. I specialise in advising both authorities and bidders on all aspects of public procurement. So why is procurement important? One thing many infrastructure projects have in common is the fact that they are public projects taken forward by government in one form or another. And what this means in practice is that any contracts, whether they be for construction, for design, for project management, or any other professional service, have to be procured in accordance with EU procurement law. So in this video, I will be looking at 3 areas of procurement which, if done right, can help deliver major infrastructure projects more effectively. The 3 issues I want to discuss today are the use of pre-market engagement, the selection of the right procurement procedure, and the importance of compliance. By the end of this video, if you're a bidder, you will have our top tips for winning more work. And if you're an authority, you should be able to have greater confidence in the procurement processes that you run. First up is the topic of pre-market engagement. Our experience of acting for both bidders and authorities in major infrastructure projects is that the bidder market is becoming much more discerning in the opportunities that it chooses to pitch for. In our view, it is no longer a given that just because your project is sponsored by government or because it exceeds a certain financial threshold in the billions of euros that you're guaranteed to get interest from the market. In our view, authorities have to sell their projects to that market, almost as much as the bidders have to sell themselves to the authorities, so pre-market engagement can be essential. This type of engagement is expressly allowed under the EU procurement directives, but in our view, it has not been used as effectively or as frequently as it should be. So our top tips, if you're an authority, are: have a pre-market engagement strategy. Give yourself enough time in your procurement timetable to implement it properly, and don't treat it simply as a box-ticking exercise. If you're a bidder, on the other hand, account for and participate in pre-market engagement processes. Be open and honest with the authority through that process. And finally, be ready at the end of that process for the competition to start. Next up is the choice of the procurement procedure. Now, under the EU procurement directives, an authority has a number of choices of procedure when it comes to conducting their procurement processes. But we've found that in some parts of the EU, there is a real reluctance to use the more complex procurement procedures which involve either dialogue or negotiation. In our view, this is a missed opportunity, particularly for major complex infrastructure projects, because we don't see that these projects can be effectively procured through more traditional, open or restricted procedures. So if you're an authority, seriously consider using competitive dialogue, the competitive procedure with negotiation, or even, if the circumstances are right, innovation partnerships. If you're a bidder, make the most out of these procedures. Use the negotiation or the dialogue to better understand what it is that the authority is looking for, and take on board any and all feedback that you're given by the authority through that process. Finally, compliance is key. All too often, procurement processes fail or are challenged because the authority has not followed the strict letter of the law, or a bidder was rejected because they did not fully understand the requirements of the tender. This leads to less effective projects. Authorities and bidders therefore equally have to fully understand the legal framework that these procurements are being conducted in. Doing so will ensure greater quality and more sustainable projects throughout Europe. This has been a very brief but hopefully useful synopsis of 3 key areas in the delivery of a major infrastructure project. If these issues are relevant to you, we hope that some of these insights can be built into your processes going forward for greater success. Of course, if we can be of further assistance, then don't hesitate to get in touch. Otherwise, we hope you've enjoyed this short video, and we'd ask you to look out for lots more in the not too distant future. Thank you.